There are two chances. Just as you said, Aubameyang was clear to give him the ball and he could have scored. At least he could have given, even if he didn't score, at least give him the ball and have a chance to score. And you will always so selfish, you play the ball out, understand?
Right. Hello, you are all welcome to another beautiful day of talking football. This is the Premier Sports Fan Center, and this is our live segment. Here, we dissect, we analyze, we expatiate, we entertain, and even bring you up to date of most of the international matches and top club soccer. With me in the studio to do justice to this is, well, sometimes I call him the octopus, but he said I should not call him octopus. But when I made my research, I discovered that even Jesus Christ himself was called Lion of the tribe of Judah. You know, but though he was not a lion, but it was just a figurative expression. Yeah. The octopus himself, Mr. Adeyemi, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and the man most of our fans have been waiting to hear from. They say, where has this man been? Where has this man been? He's here with us today. Mr. Shegelu. You are welcome to the studio.
Good afternoon, sir. It's always a pleasure being in the studio with you guys.
All right.
Talk soccer.
All right. All right. And we have a series of matches lined up today. Today is full of important matches. And let me quickly read out the matches that we'll be covering today. Aston Villa versus Tottenham. Chelsea versus Nottingham. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. Manchester United versus Wolves. Then Southampton versus Fulham. As I was talking, Southampton, N.Forest just hit one.
That is a goal from our very own
against Chelsea. Right? That is a welcome, Mr. Demi. Yeah. Now we are seeing how this being played. Right now, it is Aston Villa who is leading Tottenham by 1-0, and Nottingham just scored against Chelsea right now.
Well, that sums up just a season for us. This has been what we've been going through. And fortunately, we got our first victory under Frank Lampard last week, which all but cement our stay in EPL this season. That means Chelsea won't be going to relegation. I guess Nottingham is a team that actually spent a lot coming into the season, though it's not an excuse for Chelsea to be losing against N.Forest here in Stamford Bridge. Don't let us forget the first leg. I think it ended in a draw, in a statement game. So it shows how much they want the game. We are around that time of the season whereby teams are trying to run away from relegation, and N.Forest is one of these teams who are actually still within the relegation battle, and they're still fighting for their position. Awoni just scored, and he's one of their big money signing coming into the season. So it's surely going to be an interesting game, no doubt.
Yeah, surely going to be an interesting game. You know, earlier we saw the match between Leeds versus Newcastle. It was an intriguing match. It was intense. You know, that is the kind of football I like watching. And it ended 2-2. 2-2. What do you have to say about the match?
You know, at this stage of the season, you see people fighting for their lives, and some teams too, you know, those that don't want to go down. Those who want to go for Champions League football, European football. So it's a mix of the two. Now, Liverpool is breathing down the neck of both Manchester United and Newcastle. And there's the other side of the table whereby Leeds United, with a win today, if they had won today, they would have moved out of the relegation zone. Yeah. Pending the time the others will play. Yeah. So when you have teams having something to play for, do or die affair, then that's what you get. Guys want to die on the field of play. They want to give their all, drop their last sweat, and we enjoyed every spectacle that we see from them.
Today we'll be expecting the first team that will go for relegation if Fulham defeats Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton is all but confirmed for relegation because they're currently last on the table, 24 points, having just 3 games to go. So I don't really expect them. Mathematically, yes, we might say they are not going on relegation, but they themselves know within themselves that they are out of the league this season. It's just unfortunate that a good team like Southampton will be going down to Championship. I expect them to come back next season, all things being equal. Yes, another fantastic season for Fulham. That, like you rightly said, the one playing Southampton today, they've had a magnificent season this season. I think they are currently 10th or 11th on the log. So it's actually a fantastic season for them. Yeah, 10th on it's actually a good season for them because Fulham that we've always known, they are used to coming back to the EPL and going back to the Championship the same season. But this season, we've seen the continuity. We've seen how good the players are. They've had players who are experienced, talking about Willian, talking about, Pereira, and the goalkeeper they got from Arsenal. These players have brought in their experience into the Fulham team. So unfortunate for Southampton, they have so many good players that might, if they'll be able to keep them in the Championship, probably they'll be able to come back to the EPL next season.
All right. We'll look at the gap now. You see that Newcastle have played 35 match. Manchester United is playing his 35th match too. But Newcastle is in 66 points and Manchester United is in 64. If Manchester United win this match, definitely they will go to third position. Yeah.
A point ahead.
I point ahead of Manchester Newcastle.
This time of the season, sometimes I call it banana peel. Sometimes, when you're walking on the road and you step on a banana cover, the way you can fall, you can't estimate the distance at which you will go down. So once you drop point, either you draw the game, Chelsea has a big chance.
Every chance, no.
That sums up fairly this season because that is how much he has been losing all these type of chances this season. He himself knows he's actually having a bad season for Chelsea beyond the standard and beyond the kind of quality of player he is. Probably injury or maybe just coming into a new team. I'll really love to see him stay at Chelsea next season because he's actually a fantastic player.
No, one thing about Sterling really is even he has always been like this. There's nothing different about Sterling of this season. This is how he plays, but why he's not showing is that he is in the midst of a team like Man City.
Another chance for Chelsea. Who is there to score the goal? Oh no! Good defensive work by N.Forest.
The young ladies are playing left back today.
Let us quickly look at the tactical formation of Chelsea today. Nottingham is playing 4-4-2. Chelsea is playing
4-3-3.
4-2-3-1.
Diamond formation.
4-2-3-1 with Martial standing as the last man. Then behind him, the three line, you have Anthony. That's Man U. Sorry, that's Man U. Let's quickly look at Man U's formation. Yeah, Man U formation. Sorry. We have Man U is playing 4-2-3-1.
That's the usual.
Yeah, we have Martial in front, then Anthony, Bruno Fernandes, and Sancho forward line. Then in the midfield you have Eriksen and Casemiro. And this match is a very important match for them.
Yeah, it is. But one thing that can play to their advantage is that Wolves is well ahead of. They are safe already.
They are safe already.
So they can't go down. They can't go relegation again.
They are actually playing for pride.
They are just playing. Okay, let's just see how many points we can get as at this point. Then one thing about Man U now. The same thing happened to Arsenal. I think Man U has been found out. The 4-2-3-1 diamond formation when they were winning. Look at their last 3-4 games now. Yeah. They've been struggling. So I think
they lost to West Ham. Their last game they lost to West Ham.
Yeah,
they lost 2 games.
Yeah, they lost their last year.
They lost their last 2 games.
So it seems they've been found out. And that's where you respect the tactical brilliance of coaches like Guardiola, Mourinho. Look at on Thursday. Yeah. He switched to a 3-5-2, a formation that you won't hardly see Mourinho play. But your capacity to be able to be flexible, when you read the game that you are being found out, you take something a little bit. Look at Guardiola against Bayern. He played a 4-1-4-1 formation. Next weekend against Arsenal, he played a 4-3-3. You have to be very, very unpredictable if you want to stay in the market for long. And you don't want to lose your job, you need to be very flexible. I think Manchester United has been found out. So the coach needs to do something about it.
Or don't you think the effect that probably there's about change of ownership? They're about getting Man is about to be bought, and I think they're running up the last meeting.
Well, I don't.
For the coaches of Man U.
I don't really think that should be a problem.
Because Ten Hag was saying it's not a distraction to them.
It's not
a
now.
distraction. It's not, I don't expect that.
They are chasing target.
Because I just see them at the point of the season. It's coming down to them. Like the pressure is coming down on the players. They know what they are pursuing. They know that the third position is actually not yet in the bag for them. They still have Newcastle and Liverpool, like Yemi rightly said, pushing their neck. But for everything that happens, we have to give it to Eric Ten Hag. This is first season in the EPL. We know how hard the EPL can be. Even Graham Potter, who is based in the EPL, actually fumbled with Chelsea. So him coming to this Manchester United, we know what happened, how disgruntled this Manchester United team was last season. And him just coming into this team, trying to stabilize. And by next season, I expect him to actually push for a better, or he'll be a worthy challenger to Manchester City or whoever is at the top. So we just give him this season as a trial season. And don't let us take anything away from this Wolves. Coming into this season, I think around the first 15 games, they were actually very close to the relegation battle. That might be the second by this Chelsea, but it's not. They were very close to the relegation battle until they got, what's his name, Julian Lopetegui. So you see this as a coach with experience, a former Real Madrid coach. You see the experience, how much experience he has brought into this team to try and drive this team away from relegation and put them on a stable place in the position. That's another coach I really want to see next season and see how much he can bring more experience into this Wolves team, because we know how good Wolves used to be under Marco Silva until wherever issue they had. So this is a 2-game. You're looking at Manchester United, who are actually trying to pursue or cement their top 4 position, and you have Wolves who are actually playing for pride in this game. So it should be a beautiful game of football. It
should be a beautiful game of football, Mr. Yemi. Bruno Fernandes, one of the Manchester United players, during the interview, he said Manchester United is losing standard.
Yeah, they are not losing. They've lost standard.
But other people are arguing that they have done well. What is your own take on it?
Manchester United is right. They've lost, not they are losing. They've lost standard. Let me bring our minds back to like 2011, the early 20s. Manchester United will not win League Cup and be celebrating. What are their fans doing today? Manchester United, they don't recognize League Cup because of the type of trophies that Manchester United compete for. What are they doing now? You know, their fans are lamenting leaving Europa League. The Manchester United fans of before, what would they do? We don't need you. Let's come back to Premier League and prepare for next season. So they've actually lost standard. Not they are losing. They are just trying to come back into the Manchester United we used to know. They are tweeting towards the Liverpool of the early 2000s now. The Liverpool that slept, that took them, I think, about 30 years to now win another Premier League. And if they are not careful, the journey might be longer than the Israelites to
I think they really flopped the Jose Mourinho issue when he was their coach. Yeah. If they're looking for a better coach who could have actually built on to be like Sir Alex Ferguson, I think Mourinho was in the right frame for them at that time.
Sorry to cut you short. A lot of people we always give it to Mourinho. That Mourinho is a good coach. Yeah. But why is it that he always have this problem in every club he goes?
I think Manchester United the problem he had at Manchester United, it came with the Manchester United legend, that is the class of '93. Those are the people who actually had issue with Mourinho. Probably they wanted one of their own to be in it, because yes, they will actually see Mourinho as a Chelsea breed. That's what they see him at Manchester United. It wasn't actually fitting into that system. So that was where the issue came from. Then you have to look at it. The problem Manchester United are having is this is a club that are known for longevity. I'm talking about Manchester United and Arsenal. These are clubs that have had coaches who have been in their club for over 20 years. When was last time they had a new manager, apart from when they had Sir Alex Ferguson, who was there for like 24 years, 26 years, right? You have Arsenal who had Arsene Wenger for 20 or 19 years.
22 years.
It's actually hard for this team to actually move on. We've seen how many coaches Manchester United have actually appointed, until Ten Hag, who is now looking like a coach who can give them consistency. So probably right now they've gotten a coach who can give them this kind of system of football they actually want to play.
All right. Let's quickly look at Chelsea's formation. The other time I made a mistake, it was Man U, but right. What Chelsea is playing right now, they are playing 4-3-3. You know, and
that is
if you look at their lineup, let's quickly look at their lineup.
And I remember you saying something, which there was a day you said something about whenever you see Frank Lampard lining up with a 4-3-3, you're just ready for a lose.
I wonder. You know, see, there are some formations that comes with your style of play. There are ways, if you see Arsenal play their 4-3-3, their 4-3-3 is they dominate you, so they don't give you access to the ball. So when you are with the ball, two men are already on you, charging you. If Man City plays it too, then we remember Barcelona of Guardiola. That's how 4-3-3 can work. But
I'm bent from there. I think this is a make or my position for what's it called for Frank Lampard.
Oh, beautiful place!
Make that,
one want to take almost 4 defenders at the same time.
And he is now busy complaining that his next job, he doesn't want to be a caretaker coach.
Okay.
As a caretaker,
I think his
you
next
lost
job.
5
He might not even get a coaching job. I'm sorry to say that. He might just go into punditry like the Nevilles of this world.
Yeah, maybe Chelsea
so
wants
it's
to
always
play.
better when you are. You can look at the number of the kind of caliber of pundits we have. How much they fail as a coach,
yes.
but how much successful they were as a footballer, and how much successful they are sitting in the studio trying to analyze
now.
It is easier.
We saw what's it called, the Arsenal legend Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Also, whenever he lambasts coaches or try to tell them this is how you're supposed to play, this is how you, but by the time he got the chance at Monaco, we saw how bad of a manager he was also.
There's this sweet banter that Mourinho threw. When Mourinho was, I think, was he at Man U or Sports? Frank de Boer, the former Crystal Palace coach.
Yeah.
Now he criticized him. So when they now told Mourinho, he said, a coach that could not even get 1 point in do you understand? It's easier said than done. Coaching.
The Chelsea already, because it's like Chelsea actually destabilized what Frank Lampard was having towards the end of the season, because he was supposed to go into punditry. Before the Chelsea Madrid game, he was even supposed to be in the studio for the Chelsea Madrid game until when Boyle went to bring him back in and drag him into this mess. But I think this should be the end of his coaching career, because I don't really see him being a good coach. One win out of 8 games. No. That's actually bad. Not for a small club. We're talking about Chelsea.
Terrible.
And you know, when they won last match, I was expecting maybe this will be the first time we'll be having back-to-back win. But it's still possible. It's not.
The game is not over.
It's not over.
The issue of Lampard is this: coaching is an art. You cannot afford to be rigid. You will pay dearly for it.
But Lampard, you know, is it a rigid coach? Is it the rigid Lampard? Is it a rigid coach?
He's rigid.
He's rigid because he's a coach who actually believes in that one formation and one pattern of football. He's not a coach who is open to changes. Like that's what good coaches does. We've seen Eric Ten Hag done that mostly during the games in play. He changes his formation in play.
Even somebody like Graham Potter is one of those coaches they call the chameleon coach, who has various patterns of playing, but he was not getting results too in Chelsea.
He was swallowed at a big club. He was swallowed.
You know, Graham Potter's issue is this: Graham Potter can coach, but levels differs. And apart from the levels that differs, you look at Graham Potter. That you want to play different kinds of formation doesn't mean you should not have a starting level. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Go and check every big team in the world. They have a starting level. You can predict 6, 7 out of the players that will start for Man U. You can predict 8, 9 out of Man City. Or maybe smallest 6, 7. Yeah. Graham Potter did not have a starting 11 for more than playing for, I think, up to 20-something games. And you don't have a starting. Thomas Tuchel, how many games has he played? He already has a starting 11. At least 6 guys, 7 guys that are constant. You can be twisting the rest and be changing.
Managers like Graham Potter, left to me, they're actually built for the national team. That is where they can actually be good. You look at him, you look at what's it called, Southgate. That is the England manager. No much difference between both of them. Southgate can come into club football today and fail, and he will actually be found out and fail. That is it. So when you look at whenever I look at Graham Potter, even when he was coming to Chelsea, I was like, this man should have waited for the English work. That is the England work, because they were actually looking towards him. Probably after when they remove Southgate, he will have been the next coach.
I don't know who advised. Well, but money.
No. It's not about money. At times you have to try. You have to try the big thing and see how much you can actually do. I think even in coaching at Chelsea right now, there'll be some corrections in his career. There are some things he was unable to do at Chelsea.
101 for Manchester United. African, and that is a goal.
Wow,
and it is Marshall who have scored one for Manchester United. That was a beautiful play.
Yeah, that was a beautiful assist from Anthony to Marshall. Yeah. And if there's one player I'm always scared of when it comes to one-on-one situation or in the box, it has to be Anthony Marshall.
Beautiful goal. Yeah.
He hasn't really lived up to expectation after his first and second season at Manchester United. Yeah. That is not the standard of Anthony Marshall. Yeah. But good one for him.
But basically because of injury.
Yeah,
injury.
There's injury, and there was an unnecessary issue with Jose Mourinho. When he was fighting over jersey, that's the number 9 jersey that was given to Zlatan Ibrahimovic at a point in his career. But this is a player that was actually, France were actually looking up to be in the mode of Thierry Henry. But he never lived up to that expectation. But kudos to him now. He's getting some goals, getting amongst the numbers for Manchester United. Probably next season, these goals will actually boost his confidence. We saw what happened with Rashford this season. Getting good numbers of goals, 17 EPL goals this season is actually good for Rashford. I think this will actually boost Martial confidence. Probably he can actually build on that and build a partnership with Rashford next season.
What I just think about Martial is that he came to the big club too early. He was not that mature enough for that time he moved. Should have stayed longer to mature more before coming to Man U. So, you know, in a big club, no matter how much you are bought, there's competition. Yeah. So when you cannot compete, you can't expect a coach that at the end of the season, they want him to win. Should now be playing you to mature. You can't, it's not his fault. So when you are coming to a big club as a mature player, not as an academy player. There are two different things. You can't say, you give him time. Arsenal that tried it. Yeah. When last did they win the league? That's how it works. You can't be waiting for players to mature. Look at what is Man City doing. Look at Jude Bellingham. Is it not from Manchester? They didn't give him playing time. They loaned him. You loan them out. Go and receive sense. And when you receive sense, you come back. It's true. Because make players will bring. That's why they say boys from men. Men and players that are made. It's not by age. It's by what you can do. Jude Bellingham now is not a man. He's not a man. He can compete with De Bruyne. If they buy him today in Man City, he will compete with De Bruyne. But if he was at Man City 2 seasons ago and still playing second fiddle, he wouldn't have grown the same way he grew now. So I think the error of Marshall is he moved too early. He should have matured more before moving. That's what I think.
Well, that's what you think. Let's quickly give an update of what is happening. The match between Aston Villa versus Tottenham. It is 1-0 in favor of Aston Villa. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. It is 1-0 in favor of Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. It is goalless. Manchester United versus Wolves. It is 1-0 in favor of Manchester United. And the match between Southampton versus Fulham is goalless. It is goalless. Right now, as it stands, Man U have overtaken Newcastle in the 3rd position.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming to the end of the season running, we actually expect Manchester United to actually finish ahead of Newcastle. But my aim is that I expect Newcastle to actually get that 4th position. It's actually a very beautiful one going into the running of games. 3 more games for both teams, and it's just like a 3 finals for both teams going to the end of the season.
All right, guys, let's quickly talk about the managers. Unai Emery, he has really done well for Aston Villa. Yeah, he has really done well for Aston Villa. And we can see Aston Villa right now leading Tottenham by 1-0. And you see Mason, also the new manager of Tottenham. one of the youngest players, one of the youngest manager right now as he stands. In fact, he's the youngest manager, 31 years old. He's the youngest manager, and we see what he's doing. Yeah, caretaker. Let's say caretaker. Probably Pochettino.
Pochettino will be coming to Chelsea.
Okay, Pochettino will be coming to Chelsea.
Yes.
Then Nagelsmann was supposed to go to,
Yeah,
but that one has been, that arrangement has been cancelled.
There's a news today.
Yeah.
But I think that is what happens during this time negotiation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Nagelsmann might actually end up at Tottenham because they actually fit. I think they have.
But the information today, the news we got today is that there is no interview.
No, they had talk together. I think they have an issue over what's it called, the sporting director.
Okay.
So that is where they're having the issue. Probably Nagelsmann wants a sporting director at Tottenham to be in place. That's why they're having the issue. But at the end of the day, I expect Tottenham to actually get either Nagelsmann or Enrique. These are two quality coaches who are out there without clubs right now.
Yeah. All right, you were trying to say something, Mr. Dame.
Yeah, Tottenham. One thing they need, for me, I think they should sell Tottenham first, because the ownership of Tottenham, they are not serious. They are not serious-minded owners to me, because they don't look like owners that really want to win the big job. This is a competition. Yeah. They won't give you anything on a platter of gold. You have to go and fight for it, desire it, and work towards it. And what do? Because a coach came out, ranted, spoke, the next thing, you dismiss him. The next assistant, because he lost, I think, 6-1, you dismiss him again. What kind of body language are you sending to the fans? You need to consider them, because actually, the trophies you win, there's the fans that will celebrate it. They are the ones that pay for tickets, they buy jerseys and all those things. I don't see Tottenham as a serious team yet. Maybe if they change ownership, they will see things differently. That was
I think Joao Felix is getting frustrated. He's getting frustrated,
well,
and
of course he will.
I don't know why. I think we saw him.
That's a yellow card.
We saw him score a goal in the last match.
Should be given
He scored a goal in the last match. He has been fighting for goal.
This is one of the things I was saying before the program, that he needs to mature actually.
Yeah.
Because these are immature play from him. Though he's still young, but he's a talented player who just have to take it cool sometimes. The game actually gets to his head so much during the match.
It's just like Marshall too. The move he made was too early. He left Benfica to a defensive-minded team, different approach entirely. Two, you have not grown enough as a player, but the money was tempting for Benfica, so football is first business.
I think around 120 million
20-something
euros.
million euros.
It was actually much money to actually look away from.
So this is an opportunity for him to resurrect his career back at Chelsea.
No.
We hope he can grab it with both hands. These are the orchestrator in chief of Man U's woes.
93 legends.
You remember that there was a match last season that this guy, I think Gallagher, wanted to give Ronaldo a handshake. Was it Gallagher or
Gary Neville?
And he snubbed them.
He actually talked about Cristiano Ronaldo a day before on his program.
Yes.
Probably Ronaldo wasn't. He didn't actually. Wasn't cool with what he said. So when he saw him at the pre-match this thing, he just snubbed him. He actually shook down Carragher that day and just snubbed down Gary Neville.
All right, let me give an update. There's a goal. Crystal Palace have just scored Bournemouth. Crystal Palace have been, they've been coming up these days. Despite the fact they have the oldest coach in the Premier League,
yes,
Roy Hodgson.
I was actually not in support of them when they sacked Patrick Vieira.
Just
look at what he did last season.
Yeah.
We have to look at the problem they were in before Roy Hodgson came in, and when they sacked Patrick Vieira. And that's what's about clubs, and that's what's about managers. That's what managers should actually always put forward. And even our own Frank Lampard, that's what he should always be putting forward, that the team comes first before the players. When it's actually not going good for the club, it's always the managers who suffers for it. Patrick Vieira did a very fantastic job with Crystal Palace last season. But this season, at a point, the results were not coming in as expected, and he got the sack. They brought in Roy Oxen, who is like another Sam Allardyce. These are coaches that you can always bring in as an interim manager. Probably that's what Chelsea should have also done instead of bringing Frank Lampard back. They should have gone for an experienced coach. At the point when we had what's it called? What's this former owner? Roman Abramovich.
Okay,
he's always bringing Edink or Avram Grant back as interim managers. So now we're having Frank Lampard to deal with. Good work by Roy Oxen. We've seen the stability he has brought into Crystal Palace. They've escaped relegation. They are no more in the relegation waters. It gives the owner more time to actually get a better fit manager for them.
Yeah. He has really done well because the 16 matches played by Patrick Vieira, you cannot equate the points gathered by the old man Roy Oxen. He has played 7 games. He won 4. Drew 1 and lost 2. And he was able to bring them to a good level.
That's it. That's what we expect from interim manager. Just bring stability into the club. Why the club actually look for a better fit manager that will fit into their profile.
I think first, Roy Hodgson is a familiar friend. He knows all the players. So he is just an easy target. Just to bring in, he knows them. He knows those guys already. He coached, I think, 80-85% of them already. So he knows them. So he can easily slot. Then what just helped Crystal Palace now is just new manager syndrome. They change, every player. It happens mostly. When you change a coach in a club, every player knows that now I can break into the first team. So every player is. If you're in the first team before, you can lose your place. So every player wants to impress. 1, 2, 3. After 5 matches, they begin to see that it's like these are the first team the coach wants to start using. Then another mindset comes
to them.
So what Crystal Palace, I just think they are enjoying is new manager syndrome. And let them enjoy it while it lasts.
And there's something unique that is happening today. Crystal Palace scored, and it was Ebere Eze that scored. Then, what is his name? N.Forest scored against Chelsea, and it is Awoni that scored.
One is actually Nigerian international, and the other is actually waiting for England.
He was called for the World Cup.
He didn't come. He didn't come to Nigeria.
No. England.
He was supposed to be on. He was supposed to be provisional list, but he had injury. He had an ACL injury. That was 9 months layoff.
No, what I'm talking about this last World Cup, I think he was invited, but I don't think he missed it
due to injury. He's yet to be capped by England. So there's still chances.
And he's not ready to play for Nigeria.
There's still chances of him. The problem with him not playing for Nigeria has to be one thing that was our former coach, Bernard Rowe and Amadou Pinnick should actually be the best person in this position to actually answer that. Because at the point there was a time we were preparing for the friendly match against Senegal in England. And they invited some of these boys. Eberechi Eze was in the camp then. So that was the time Nigeria should have actually talked to this boy and actually cap him. He was in Division 2 then, QPR. He was playing for QPR then. So when he joined Crystal Palace, at Crystal Palace he was actually looking at it like he had the opportunity or he has the chance to actually play for England. Just like Adarabioyo at Fulham. These are players. When Fulham was in Championship last season, Adarabioyo was actually twerking to play for Nigeria, but now they're back in the EPL. He has actually been looking at it like he can also get into the England national team. So I don't really count Eberechi Eze ready to play for Nigeria, just like his compatriots, Michael Olise. These are 2 fantastic players. They've actually been doing good for Crystal Palace, and these are fantastic players that you can actually bring into the Super Eagles to actually do good work. But whoever follows the Nigerian national team knows that it's a quota system. We know how the people at the top and how they pick their players.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Because if you look at it now, right now, scattered all over the world, you see Nigerians are doing well. But coming back home, the national team here, they don't go far. Is it as a result of the coach, or is it as a result of the management, or the political? What is the problem?
The thing is, number one, if you're having a headache, you feel the pain from the head to the toe. So fix first the leadership. Number 2, if you have enabling environment, if you want to define enabling environment, that is a place whereby your potential can be harnessed. If you're a driver and you're in the house, you're as useless as anything.
Yeah.
But once they give you a car, you become a magician.
Yeah.
So now, if you have a talent, where are the sports centers to go and play football? Where are the competitions to develop young talent? To discover them when they are a youth? Now, you see, I'm a very realistic person. For me, Eberechi Eze, Adarabi Oyo, and guys like that, they should go to those countries that invested in them. Because if those countries didn't build those things, they might as well be wasting away, like so many talents are wasting away on the street of Nigeria. So in this country, our problem is not lack of talent. Our problem is we don't have the right structural approach, the enabling environment around us to harness the talent and get the best out of them. We are struggling economically. Argentina is struggling. Brazil is struggling. But they have this Senegal struggling for crying out loud. And they have all these things in place. We don't need billions. We just need people that are thinking in the same leg to fix all these things. It's just annoying because corruption is beginning to kill more. Because, see, the cost of corruption is actually not the money you lose. It's actually the talent. Imagine an Elon Musk not being a citizen of the United States. Do you know how much, apart from money alone? So talent, you'll be losing your best hands. Go and check companies all over the world, especially in the financial world. You see that Nigerians, surgeons, doctors, Nigerians are top. The problem.
Let me just close it with this, because when it comes to Nigerian Football Federation issue, is one issue I always want to touch. I don't always want to touch or talk about. But you have to look at the problem with NFF. It comes directly from the administrators. Because at the end of the day, during the elections, when it comes to elections, they'll tell you football administration is different from the game of play itself.
Yeah.
When you talk about one way of blaming wherever not creating enabling society, look at the Northern Africa and what they're actually creating right now. Most of the football federations in the Northern Africans, they have their own football complex, not even waiting for the federal government. And don't forget, each football federation is independent of government.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money coming in from FIFA. Every country has FIFA Go project. That is FIFA creating or sending money for smaller field of play. What's it called, our former NFF president, that's Amaju Pini, what did he do with the money? Where has the FIFA Go project money be going to? Yeah. NFF is as rich that they should have their own football stadium. It's not every time we actually blame the federal government for whatever issue we are going through. Because I'm coming. Look at the under-17, for instance. Yeah. In a long time, this is the first time we're actually going with a very young squad of players, and they couldn't actually play well against the men brought by other teams from Africa. We crashed out yesterday. We crashed out yesterday against Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, who we actually defeated during the WAFU qualifiers, because we beat them in the final. But when it comes to, this morning now, the coach, that's Unduka Ubadi, he was sacked this morning, and he's assistant manager. Yes, he was sacked with immediate effect. Then we have Salisu Yusuf, who has been doing rubbish with our Chan Eagles and under 23 Olympics team. They couldn't qualify for Chan, they couldn't qualify for Olympics team. He's still there as assistant coach in the Super Eagles. You look at when they wanted to get a coach for the Super Eagles, we had to go and bring in an unknown Portuguese as a coach. When we have Philip Koku, who even wanted... No.
Yeah, it's painful to talk about this.
It's always painful to talk about NFF.
Why I said fix the head. Yeah. That's why if you go into NFF...
Well, it's a cabal.
If you go into NFF, this program, we will not talk about Chelsea and Man U again.
Yeah. It's a cabal.
My role model.
Let me just give you the easiest way to fix NFF. That is Nigerian football will be dead for like 10 years. Because FIFA immediately government is trying to interfere. FIFA is going to slam on us. Let us accept the ban. Let us go for that 10 years. Let it looks like a federation that people are not running into it because of the money there. Once they don't see, that's what's about Nigerians. Once they don't see that money for like 5 years, they're going to forget that's our federation. But we still have the same caliber of people. For the next 10 years, the next 10 rulers of NFF are already on the line from their own cabal. So it can't work. Let's just go back to our.
All right. If we want to talk about, just 1 minute.
My role model was saying something. He said, NFF election, you have to have at least maybe around 1 billion to 2 billion. That dollars will start flowing. NFF election. Dollars.
There's so much money involved in Nigerian football.
That they'll start bribing. Now, if you put your money down for people to vote you in, when you get to, what will you first do?
You say to them
to collect your money that you've invested.
That's why they try to stay away
so
from
those money FIFA is bringing in.
We'll talk from today to tomorrow.
See, Nigeria. That's just fix the head. If you have leadership in this country that is sincere about fixing corruption, what's the? You don't need to even go for ban. It's EFCC you will use.
No. Hello.
Yes, okay.
You understand?
It's like we'll have a caller on the line. We have a caller on the line. All right. Who is on the line and where are you calling from? Hello? All right.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. So, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Ben. I'm calling from the US.
All right, Mr. Ben. How do you do today?
I'm okay, thank you.
All right. I hope you are watching the match. The matches, let me say the matches, because there are a lot of matches being played along Europe, along England, and even in Germany, there are a lot of matches. I hope you are watching the matches. And I know very well you're a Chelsea fan, right? Can you
Yes.
Yeah,
of course I am.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a true Chelsea fan.
I thought maybe you want to deny that you are not a Chelsea fan again, because that is what most Chelsea fans are doing.
And I'm a true Chelsea fan.
Okay. Thank God that you're a true Chelsea fan. Right now, your team is down by 1 goal, courtesy of goals scored by Awoniyi. And they've come to the end of the first half. How do you feel right now? Hello, Mr. Ben, can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, I feel disappointed.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you feel disappointed. What do you think Chelsea is not doing right?